Hey everyone, it's Ann Stewart, Principal Broker with eXp Realty. Today I'm here to tell you 4 reasons you shouldn't be buying or selling that maybe you hadn't thought about in this market. So I want to tell you 4 reasons that you shouldn't be a buyer or a seller in this market. And maybe you haven't thought about this, but in light of the fast-moving market where things are selling and people are buying because of low interest rates, there is a group of people that shouldn't be buying or selling. And I think it's important to address this because we sometimes act all like lemmings. We jump into the market because the fever pitch feels like you're just wanting to dive in and take advantage of, what you're feeling and seeing as far as what the market's concerned. But there are some types of situations out there that do not make sense in this market. And I want to address them because I occasionally get the phone call that somebody wants to do what I'm about to explain, and I just don't think it's prudent. So the first one is people are looking for a deal. They're looking for a deal. Maybe they're looking to invest in a rental property. And I'm going to tell you right now that the numbers are really challenging to make work in the Portland real estate market unless you have substantial down payment monies or you're looking to do what we call a 1031 exchange investment. It's really not advisable right now to buy a rental property unless you happen to come across something that just isn't on the open market. To find a property right now and to compete with buyers in a market where it's multiple offers in many cases for properties that work for rental properties like single family homes. It's really hard to make the numbers work. It's hard to put enough money down where you're going to get enough rental income that it's going to make sense for you to go out there and rent the property. Now, there are exceptions to that. If you already own investment property and you're looking to change out one for the other and you've got a good down payment, you've run the numbers, and buying a single family home, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 14 to 1,600 square feet for 400 to 450 makes sense for you, then by all means do that plan. But for most people are like, hey, I just want to buy an investment property, and they'd have to put down 25 to 30% to get the investment property, to just get the loan for it. And then on top of that, are the numbers going to make sense? Is the payment of the mortgage going to be fully covered, if not cash flowing, by the numbers? And in most cases right now, it's just not. Now, other investments to look into are duplexes and larger type properties. Again, the market is really tight on those. Very hard to find a duplex on the market or a good duplex where the numbers really work, and you've got to put down a lot of money, and it's all about the numbers. So I would say right now, hold tight if you're thinking about buying a rental property. Wait for the market to calm down a little bit for prices and inventory to kind of come back into play where it makes a little more sense. The other thing I get phone calls on, which is a number 2, do not try to flip properties right now. I have talked to a few people who are like, yeah, I want to get in, the market's hot, I want to flip something. It's such a hard game in the Portland area. It's very challenging to find prices or a house where the prices make sense to buy a house and flip it. You really have to know your stuff. It's a very high risk gamble. I can talk to you one-on-one about it if you have questions, but only experienced investors right now are out there flipping properties. Now, there's multiple reasons for that. Number 1, you have to find somebody who's willing to sell their house at extraordinary discounts, because even houses that are in disrepair, cosmetically or structurally, are getting really good prices right now. And the numbers just don't work out. By the time you invest in that house, put the money that's needed, and the sales fees and all the things you have to do to get it back into the marketplace, there's very razor thin margins. There's very small cases where that's not true, but even investor partners that we're aware of that are highly trained and experienced to find those kind of properties, they're out there knocking on every door to try to find them. So right now, it's not a good time to be a flipper, especially a brand new one. Number 3, don't plan on buying something and holding it for a short period of time to make equity on it. So it's kind of like the flip mentality, but you're thinking, okay, I'm going to buy this house, and in 8 to 9 months or 12 months from now, I'm going to turn around and make 4% on my money or higher and flip it. Don't do that. Don't plan for that. It's not worth it. If the market changes at all or there's any kind of softening that happens, you're going to be, out of luck in terms of the plan that you had. I would not recommend that. I am a very big proponent of buy real estate and hold on to it for a period of time, and don't bank on the small, short-term, plan of action where you're going to make a lot of money. It happens, but you don't want to plan for that. The last one is trying to time the market. I see so many times where our clients are like, well, I'm going to wait until this, election's over. I'm going to wait till next spring. I'm going to try to time it where the interest rates are even go down further. That is the hardest thing to do and have it work out, because inevitably the only time we tend to see the timing work out is when we're looking back in the rearview mirror. So if you're just trying to time the market to get a better deal or a better interest rate or this, that, or the other, don't do that. What I tell everyone is you operate in the market you're currently in. So right now, I can tell you it's very safe to be a buyer and a seller, both sides. And people are like, well, wait a minute, you just said the inventory is really low and the market's moving really fast in these other videos. Well, that's true. But when you're a buyer, you better care more about your interest rate being low than the prices being high, because the payment is what matters for most of us. And the buying power is what matters for most of us when we're a buyer. So right now, it's a great time to be a buyer and a seller for the reasons that I always share with you, which is low inventory, low interest rates, but do not try to time the market, meaning a lot of people will say, oh, 3.2% interest rate. Well, I'm going to wait a little longer. Maybe they'll go down to 2.2%. Or I'll say sellers like, oh, well, the market's going up. I'm going to wait a few more months and see if I can get a few more bucks in my pocket. So if you need to sell or you need to buy, it's usually for a reason. There's usually a lifestyle change. There's usually a decision that has to be made. So, it's not about waiting just a little bit longer to see if you can squeak out a little bit more. Oftentimes that bites us in the butt more than it helps us. So if you have any questions, those are my 4 tips for why you wouldn't want to buy or sell in this market. Love your guys' feedback. I always love to hear from you guys when you hear my videos, and a lot of you will email me or call me and talk to me. And if you have anything you want me to discuss in a next video, I would love to hear your input and your thoughts. And as always, hope you guys are doing well. Please reach out if you guys have any buying or selling needs.